Please let's welcome the moderator for the panel, the Managing Director of Diamond Bank, Mr. Uzoma Dozini. Let's welcome the CEO of Signal Alliance, Mrs. Ada Onyego, for the conversation. Also on this panel, we'd like to make welcome the CEO of Future Soft Technologies, Mrs. Inken Bego. On this panel as well, we're having one of the co-founders of Afrotech Girls, Mrs. Adeola Sashoya. Please let's make her welcome. And the last but not the least of this panel is the COO of Enterprise, Mrs. Chika Uwaze. Please a round of applause for her. Please let's put our hands together for all our panelists and our moderators. Over to you, sir.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm very happy to be here. This is International Women's Month, and I think technology is a very topical subject, not in Nigeria, in Africa, and for most businesses today, especially people like us in the financial industry. And one of the reasons why is that I think there's great belief that using technology, leveraging on technology to drive your business will enable us to leapfrog some of the processes, activities that the Western world has gone through, so we do not have to reinvent the wheel. And I know in our industry, in my industry, banking, we're looking at how we can leverage technology to, improve the customer experience of customers, the experience of customers, and how they use financial instruments. And for example, I'm a strong believer that we don't have to use point-of-sale terminals or cards in Nigeria, that we can actually use leapfrog and go straight to mobile, because those solutions are there, and we have a fantastic banking platform that enables us to do that. But for us to, and I think with technology, one of the issues is adoption. The less people know, the more difficult it is to actually scale. And I think that those are those are the issues we want to cover, especially on the gender side. And I know I had the privilege of having a conversation with a few of the panelists yesterday, and there were a few things that come up that we take for granted. But Nigeria is 50% men and 50% women, so you can't deny one half, because if you deny one half, you're actually not taking advantage of your resources, which is human. And so we have to ensure that we have an enabling environment to cater for all people to maximize the country's resources. And so I think what I like to do is start off by allowing my experts here. I think they all have expertise in technology. I'm just a user, but these are the people that really make it easier for us to adopt it in our business. So I'm going to ask them to spend like 2 minutes each just talking about themselves, what they do and what they're trying to achieve.
We are a creative technology solution platform. So basically we help organizations grow by giving them amazing technology solutions, but also launching a few of our own products. But a lot of people know me for being the CEO of TalentBase, and so I recently exited out of that company, and that was a payroll solution company. But the interesting thing about my background, and I tell a lot of ladies, is that my background was not actually in tech. So I was an HR consultant for over 10 years. I actually went to Georgetown and studied human capital management. But actually during my time at Georgetown, I literally woke up one morning and said, I don't feel like I'm making enough impact in people's lives, and that's when I decided to move back to Nigeria to join TalentBase. And so I tell a lot of ladies that you don't have to be a coder or a product manager to be involved in the tech space. There's a lot of amazing tech startups that are looking for people to help them in communications, to help them in financing, to help them in strategy. And so throughout my life cycle, being in the tech scene for equally 10 years, because I've always been parallel working in the tech sector, what I've done is to help different startups. So a lot of the startups that you see now, helping them with operations, helping them with marketing, and helping them with strategy. So that's my background, and I'm just really excited to be with these ladies on this panel to really talk about technology and the impact on women.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adela Shasaya. I'm one of the co-founders of Afrotech Girls. So Afrotech Girls is a not-for-profit organization set up by 3 engineers. Basically, we started in 2015 as a sort of give-back project during our NYSC. We started with a science and math quiz competition for girls in secondary school. So what we primarily do is to promote STEM in science, technology, engineering, and math in girls, especially in secondary school, because the 3 of us have backgrounds in science and engineering, and we noticed that there weren't a lot of girls studying engineering or technology courses, not because they weren't smart, because you find that a lot of these girls top their classes, but they're not encouraged, or they're biased to what engineering is. They feel, oh, it's just for guys, and it's not really a girl career. So what we do is set up programs like our quiz competition, our mentorship programs, and technology boot camps to also educate, empower the girls, ensure they have the right skill sets, from an earlier stage, so they even understand what it is they're going to do and prepare them well enough for university and their careers ahead. So I'm really just excited to be here, to be with all these amazing people. I feel like I'm the one that's going to learn most from everyone here. But yes, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nkemdlin Bell, and I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Future Software Resources. So FutureSoft is an IT consultancy focused on SMEs that are looking to scale, right? And we have 3 core focus areas. One of them is digital marketing, so we have a full-fledged digital agency under us. The second focus area is e-learning, so we build e-learning solutions for both corporate organizations as well as educational organizations. And the last focus area is IT consultancy with a very strong focus on how do you make organizations more efficient using technology. And this doesn't have to be any kind of very complicated technology. It can be basic technology solutions that just make your organization work better and more efficient, and allow you to actually create a proper system behind your organization, as opposed to relying too much on people and knowledge being scattered all around. I've been in technology for the last 15 years, and I've been running FutureSoft for 10 years. It's been very interesting to kind of see the Nigerian tech space evolve, and I'm very happy that there are more and more women that are finally in the tech space. When I started out, I was, kind of like the unicorn, apart from some women who had been in the industry for a while, but I was like the only young person that, or the young woman that was in the industry. So it was a little bit lonely for a while, but now I've got my sisters here. And I'm very excited to be on this panel with these amazing ladies. Thank you.
My name is Mrs. Adam. I'm the CEO of Signal Alliance. Signal Alliance is a diversified technology company started from system integration. We have more than 20 years experience. I've been with the company. I'm a co-founder of the company. One of the things we do and try to do is to encourage our people internally to be entrepreneurs. And by so doing, we're able to have our companies, different companies who are made up of these entrepreneurs. So we have about 3 or 4 people that are entrepreneurs of this company that are running companies outside the company. So right now we have invested an investment amount called SASWay. It's an instrument we use in promoting entrepreneurs in the position. So if you think you have that ability to work in a company where you still have to be an entrepreneur, Maybe I think you have come to the right place. So you should be talking to us.
Thank you so much. Nice, brief, straight to the point. So my first general question to you all is, so in your businesses and your profession, what would you, and as speaking as women as well, what would you think are the barriers for scaling and growing? And I think in your introduction, you also spoke about, more women, bringing more women into your different businesses, and also making impacts. So, what would you say are the challenges, and what needs to be done in that space? Who wants to go first? Everybody get it. Everybody has different views.
So one main challenge I would say, and I think it really applies to everyone here, but I see it really impact women in Nigeria, is fundraising. And specifically, what I see is that there are women who are able to get some startup capital with family and friends and to get the business growing. But then there's a point where they're looking for that seed capital to grow and to go to the next phase. And the challenge is, being able to, number one, identify the sources of capital, but also fundraising is aggressive. It's like an actual sport. And so, last year when I was focused on fundraising, throughout the whole year, I'm literally being put out of my comfort zone because I'm not a finance person. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to convince investors to invest in your organization, you have to be able to talk about the numbers. You're going to have to be able to talk about the forecasting. And that's something that I believe more education needs to be done with women about not only understanding the fundraising process, but how to pitch. And so when you're in a room, constantly I have this 30-second pitch in my head of how do I pitch to my organization. So I think that's definitely a challenge. And also data proves that women invest in women, right? But if you don't have a lot of women in the investment space, that's definitely another challenge as well. So I do hope, I know a few women investors, so anyone who is looking to raise capital, I'm more than happy to connect you with those ladies. But I just think we need to, number one, identify more women investors, and those women who have done well to invest in other women, but also just doing more education about fundraising. Because at the end of the day, an investor, is not always necessarily seeing, woman or man, but just, will this make me money? And just doing more education and awareness around that.
So I think one of the barriers to entry is also, it starts very, very young, right? So pretty much in the home. And, I don't know how many moms are here, but if you're a mom, you need to embrace technology because you spend the most of the time with the children. So if you have a girl, you're going to influence her in terms of what she likes and what she doesn't like, right? So I'll give a short example. My mom was the person who used to repair everything in the house. The TV is broken, don't call him. My dad is in tech, but don't call him, he will break it. Call mama, she will fix it, right? And because I grew up with having a role model that could pretty much fix any kind of electronic device in the house, technology wasn't scary. It was something that, we embraced. And then obviously my dad pushed us as well. So it's, I think if you push children from a very young age to actually just embrace technology and use technology in everything that they're doing, then they have a completely different approach to it. Because what we see is that you go into primary schools, there are very few, then everybody has ICT, then in secondary school everybody has ICT, but by the time you get into university, it's like there are 10% women in ICT, and this is a big problem, right? Because out of those 10%, in computer science, half of the class is going to drop out anyway, right? So you are now down to having even less women. Then they go into the workplace, and they realize, oh my God, there are only a bunch of guys here. This is like even worse than university because now I'm the only one. And at some point, if they're not strong enough, they get pushed out, right? Or they get married and then the husband says, oh, you don't need to work, just stay at home. Or they have children and then it becomes even harder because when you, especially if you're on the engineering side where, you code all night and you do all sorts of crazy hours, it's very, very hard to combine that with, have a work-life balance, basically. So I think, we need to kind of look at what can we do to increase that funnel, right? So that we're not putting 10% of girls into university, but we're putting 60% of girls into university, because we already know that they're going to drop off, right? And this is across different industries. It doesn't only apply to technology, right? Go into banking, look at the women on top. They're very few, right? The numbers are increasing, but they're still very few, but there are more and more women who are going into banking from the get-go, right? So I think that's, one of the key challenges.
Following on what Nkem said, I strongly believe allowing the girls or students in secondary school have a strong self-identity and being able to identify themselves in women in tech as well. So being able to get mentors or role models at an early age, because a lot of girls, especially in secondary school, like, I want to be like this senior that graduated, I want to be like this person that's doing this. And it's really good that in the world that we have big companies recognizing the need for mentorship and providing role models. Even in a movie like Black Panther, the person that was a tech person was a girl, was a little girl that was very amazing. So watching that kind of movie, an African girl, even from Nigeria, can have the desire, the hope that, she can do it, why can't I as well? So following on from secondary school, especially in the workplace as well. And in addition to what Nkem said as well, ensuring that organizations adopt a flexible working environment, because women will always be women. They will get married, they're going to bear children. The husband is not going to help you carry your children. So, carry the child, not carry the child. She's the one that's going to endure the 9 months. So we need to be able to, I would say it's kind of a fair advantage, because a lady would need that extra help to rise, and then if she has a network of other women around her, would also push her to succeed and grow in her career in science, technology, engineering, and math. Thank you.
Okay, let me talk a little bit of my own experience. When you talk about barriers, there are lots of barriers, but one of the fundamental barriers we can talk about today is taking it from what the speaker said this morning. That there's a difference, there's a gap between the entrepreneurial and the finance. There's a big gap, and that gap is the structure. She talked about the structure this morning. Now, if you ask someone that wants to take a 200,000 or 500,000 loan or something, are you going to go through all this list of the bank requirements? Because you're looking for just a little fund to start up a business. And this is a very big issue. Now, are there solutions to that? Correct. There are other options. And some of these options you can get. One of these options is, call it the investment options. You have the Lagos Angel Network, which is where lots of the young people, you talk about what they want to do. You don't have to go and make your father's land or something to get money. So they look at you based on what you have here and what the future of that thing could be, and they can invest in you. Now, the good thing now is that for the women, the Lagos Angel Network has also helped to promote the women. Now we have what they call Rising Tide. Now, Rising Tide are part of the Rising Tide. And what do? We try to help all these small businesses structure them very well. So even before you come out to request for money from the bank or anywhere, we try to organize you properly so they can have access to those funds. So that's what they do. And they try to put you in shape, because most businesses you see today, they don't have structure. So there's no way you would try to get any finance anywhere. Somebody will just take money and give them and ask you a question. What have you done? So these are the kind of issues that people have. And by having some of those variables, it helps you to understand even how to structure yourself and your finances, like I said, your money. And with doing that, it's easier for you to get access to any kind of loans or in any way, in any form that you can get in this country. I think there are a lot of them happening. But what we are saying here is that what is the percentage of women that can have those accesses? That is the danger that we have today. Just very few. And how many of these women are aware? Many women are not even aware. That's the problem again. Because you are talking to how many people over here, and you have 35% of women that are educated already in the country. So are they aware of all these things we are talking about? They might not. So how do we get some of these things out there so that they are aware that, there are options that are even available for them in business? So these are the kind of things that we're going to look at as we go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies. I think you make some very, very interesting points and very clear points. Women investing in women, not enough women, so that there's a capacity issue as well. And also starting very young. I think I was reading an article a few weeks ago where they say adolescence is a pathway to gender equality. So get it right then. That's when the woman a mental state of the world and herself is actually formed during that period. So I think we can change those things. And I think I try to do that with my daughters as well. So I have an 8-year-old who plays football, so I have to practice with her now and not make her think it's a... But when we come to technology and you say that women are not so embracing it as they should, something like I wonder, are we being hard on ourselves? Because even when I work in an organization where I think the men and women are the same in terms of embracing technology, there's the applying it, so there's the user, so I see myself as a user, and most people are. And you know, when I go into Instagram and I see the activities of Instagram, so there's the entertainment part, but there's also the business part, and where the innovation and creativity comes from using Instagram is actually from women businesses. You see them actually using it as a platform for marketing and also for selling their wares. So I think in some areas where they understand the opportunity, it's used quite well. But then how do we? So for me, how are you going to deal with the women in women business? Because I think that is where one has to be deliberate about it. Because sometimes you take for granted, you're looking for money, you know about 5 people, you never think of another woman. It's always okay. Money men, not money women. So, you know, from your perspective, how do we change that narrative? What can be done about that?
So I think that women themselves have to be more deliberate about it, right? And also show more interest. So I was speaking to a friend of mine who was looking for investors in his company, and he approached several women, and he said, look, they were asking me questions as if they're IMF, and you know, the men were just like, okay, what are the returns? When am I going to get my money back? Okay, fine, done. This is it. Here's the transfer, right? So I think the process of how women also, you know, kind of like decide to part with their money to make an investment is also different, right? And I think that, you know, that's something that is just part of who women are, right? Because at the end of the day, women are always like, okay, save for a rainy day, you know, so the risks that women are, you know, ready to take are usually lower than the risks that men are ready to take. And, you know, there's statistics that show that women actually, whatever they earn, they put much more back into their community and into their family than what men do, you know. So I think it's really to also kind of make sure that women are more educated about, you know, okay, these are the actual risks. And when it comes to technology, I think it's really, the women who have money don't understand tech. And that this is a big problem, right? So there are a lot of men who also don't understand tech that have money, but there are, in my opinion, more women who have money who don't understand tech, right? So there's that education process that has to happen in terms of explaining, you know, okay, what it means to invest in a technology business, at what stage you should invest, and all of those kind of things that make it more difficult for women to invest in technology business. If you tell a woman that, okay, I want to sell fabric, I need 1 million naira, she will say, okay, no problem. What's the profit that you're going to make? Where are you going to sell it? How much are you going to sell it? It's very easy math, right? You do the projections, you can give her her money back plus some in, you know, 5 weeks or whatever it is. But in technology, it's a little bit different because a lot of the time it's a long-term investment, and then there's the fear of...
Sorry to cut you short. So isn't that not about the tech, but just the maturity profile of the investment? So wouldn't that be the same if you went and pitched a construction business or a farm business, because it's long-term in nature?
Yes, so I think part of it is the you know, maturity period, but I think also it's understanding. Farming is much easier to understand. You tell somebody, I'll plant this thing today. In 6 months, it's going to mature. Then we're going to sell it. Then we're going to make money. When we make the money, this is what I'm going to give you. Technology doesn't really work that way, right? So you say, okay, I need to build the product. It's going to take me 18 months to build. So for 18 months, you're not seeing anything, right? It's a big problem. And then even after the 18 months, so then you now have to start marketing it. And maybe it doesn't pick up the way that you want it to pick up, or your adoption rates are slow. All of these things, play into, women actually having to understand technology and the technology life cycles as well. And I think, the Nigerian ecosystem in terms of technology is still very young. We've seen so many companies come, pop up and go, which is also very scary for, people who want to invest in this sector.
Let me ask you, thank you very much. So it's like asking, they say that blockchain is the new frontier. So, you would think that, more women will jump in there so they can at least be ahead of men. But you find that it's one of those things that, and I think with the application, I think the uses of blockchain will be enhanced if more women got into it, because the practical uses, it's not about finances, it's also about transparency and trust and the true ledger. And I think that more women in that space will actually benefit it and might actually proceed much faster than it is actually doing right now, especially in this market. But going back to the financing, so you've been in business for over 15 years now, so 23 years now. So what have your challenges been in accessing finance from being a co-founder, but being a woman in technology business?
Very good question. Technology is important. People always want to say, where is the house, where is the building? You have to show me something before you can get funding. Technology is something you can see. So how do you quantify it to get funding? That's the question. That is vague. So it has always been a problem for most technology companies to really show this is what it is that I'm looking for money for. But nevertheless, e-commerce is happening, a lot of things are happening, and people are seeing what's going on in trading, women in business, whoever it is. So even the banks are going to appreciate that no longer is this tangible, show me your land and all those buildings that matters, but what is in there, what can actually change the growth. So we're talking about the Facebook of these days, there's no tangible, you cannot see anything, but these guys are making money. So for the banks now is that what can you do in the next 1-2 years that can make money? I want to see it. So if you show us the thing, if it's a software that makes the money, so be it, so they can fund you. But for me, when we started business, there was basically nothing. I wish I started the business today, but I'm sure I would have been like Facebook of yesterday. We didn't have those opportunities because then it was difficult to even get finance. There were so many restrictions in the banks or even between brothers or even friends, communities to get funding. So you try to live with what you have just to make it work until maybe 5, 6, 10 years, where the banks can now see consistent flow of money into their banks, and they now begin to say, oh, apparently that's what you're doing is making sense. So maybe we'll talk to you. So for us, it has always been a challenge. And unfortunately for the women, getting finance is a bit difficult than when the man goes to get the finance. And like she has mentioned it before. If a woman entrepreneur wants to go there and say, I'm looking for funding, there are 20 questions. Yeah, mother, how are you going to guarantee us the money payback and all those things? But it's changing today. Because today women are actually controlling. A woman sets her eyes on what she wants to do and she gets it done. That is what you cannot take from us. We are multitasking, so we can do almost virtually everything at the same time. I won't complain. It's working. So we are taking up the e-commerce space. People are using mobile phones to make money. They are doing a lot of trading with their phones, using WhatsApp. This is not happening today, unlike what it was then, 50-something years ago. Then we have only maybe 3 women or 2 women in IT. So a lot of things are happening today, and for me, it's really showing you that look, the pace of women in technology is really fast growing. And the economy really need to see it and embrace it, and try to figure out ways of helping some of these things happen. Even if to make special concessions for women, to say, look, okay, if you're a woman, some things we don't need to ask for it. Then it has to happen. But the problem here is that we don't have that, we don't have the voice to go out. Neither yesterday or so had the elections. There was no one involved. And then for me, why would you have a woman in the committee? It doesn't make any sense. And that's why most times our voices are not heard. So there are things that internally we need to really change to make sure that our women get access to some of these things the way it should. At least the government can even hear our voice and say, let's make some special programs for women to just make sure that they can access whether it's finance, technology on time, whatever it is, when they need it, because it's really a problem for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I just wanted to add to your conversation around blockchain. That's one of the technology I'm super excited about, and especially because I definitely feel this is an area where women can win. Specifically, I did a sample survey, and I asked people how many people are investing in cryptocurrency. And a lot of people don't realize blockchain and cryptocurrency are two different things. And actually, most of the respondents I got from the survey were actually women, and these were Nigerian women. And I've actually looked at some of the cryptocurrency investment groups in Nigeria, and there are women part of these conversations. And I definitely feel that blockchain and cryptocurrency is going to enable the next set of wealth. But even further, why I believe this is important for women is, so yesterday the Gates Foundation announced that they're looking to put a certain amount of money in economic empowerment around women. And one of Melinda Gates' goals is to give women in emerging markets mobile wallets. So being able to receive funding, put it in their wallet so that they can manage the family home. And I feel like a lot of this can be done through blockchain technology because it can be done in a very low fee. So I'm super, excited about that. And I do encourage more women to understand cryptocurrency. It can be daunting at first, but it definitely is something that I'm seeing growing and changing the technology landscape.
I'm going to ask, so, and you just said you encourage people, it could be daunting. I mean, you're saying all the things that people are going to say, okay, I don't have time for this right now. So do you think that there needs to be an organization of people coming together to form a body that helps break these things down? Because everything that we talked about here was, there's a barrier of understanding, like it just feels too much. And I think it's not that nobody wants to, it's the simplification of things. Things need to be broken down. But it now requires people to come together to make it happen. As you said now, when a woman sets aside of things, it is done. And we're seeing I think we see a lot of things that women are doing in the tech space. It's like all in silos, and then nobody's coming together to create some synergies. So how do you think that can happen?
I don't know much about cryptocurrency, to be honest, but any technology.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a couple, like you said, you're right, there are a couple of organizations. There's I don't remember their name now, but there's another NGO similar to ours they started a long time before ours. They do summer camps. WTech, there's WOW Foundation. There are a lot of all these organizations. Last year we did our first summer camp and we partnered with another organization. If there's a way that all these organizations that do the same things can partner up, develop curriculum, because at the end of the day, it's not a competition. It's just all about creating learning opportunities for people, ensuring that the people that we raise, the students that we raise in this part of the world are comparable to their peers all around the world. They shouldn't feel disadvantaged. So if organizations like Afrotech Girls, WTech, WOW Foundation, and also the organizations, so the people that these students will end up working for, if they can work together, form some type of partnerships, and ensure that whatever skills that they're training them on are relevant in the industry. And not even just for the industry, for the kids themselves. You read every day in the news that, there's this young American kid that set up this business, with maybe an agri-business and has an app for it. So people that are using technology to scale up businesses from very young ages. And we're very lucky now that internet is easily accessible, well-monitored, children can use it. And I believe just partnerships, ensuring that you're aware with how the technology trends, business trends of the world is going, and ensuring that whatever you're creating is relevant and is useful in the environment, basically.
I just want to add to that. So I think that, that strategy is really good because you catch them young and that will increase the funnel into technology. However, it will still then take another 15 to 20 years to get women who have money out of it, right? Which means that there has to be a second layer to it. There has to be the education of women who are not necessarily in technology but have money and are looking to invest, and kind of breaking it down for them and breaking down, this is what cryptocurrency is, this is what, all the different new technologies are, so that they actually understand it. In order to do that, these kind of seminars are very important, but they also obviously have to have the right audience there. And I think also on top of that, if organizations that already have women-focused products, so for example, Diamond Bank, right? You have a women-focused product. So if you said, okay, you know what, we need experts who are in technology who can break this down, whether you say, okay, let's create a website or let's do conferences that actually educate, but somebody has to fund it, right? So it's easy for all of us here to sit and say, oh yeah, okay, let's build a website and break it down and put all of that stuff together, but content creation takes a lot of time and also costs a lot of money, right? So, and then there's the promoting of the content, which also, so our background is digital marketing, so I mean, I know how much it actually takes to promote a business. So you can build a technology solution for a very small amount of money, and then you have to now put a much larger amount of money behind it to market it, right? So when it comes to this kind of awareness stuff, I think that there have to be corporates who have an interest in the tech space growing to actually also kind of back it and say, you know what, this is what we want to achieve. Let's get people together who can partner with us and who want to achieve the same thing in order for it to move forward. And then also partner with networks like WinBiz, She Leads Africa, that have a lot of, have reach and can reach the right kind of women as well, that either already have money or are going to have a significant amount of money in the next 5 to 10 years. If not, I really don't see how it's going to change and more women are going to invest in tech specifically.
And but to even add further, I definitely believe in the corporate partnerships. And I think that's what's actually going to evangelize technology and make sure that technology spreads across all types of women, and not just women who are deliberately going into the tech field. So as you were saying before, the banks and the telecoms, you guys have the biggest group of consumers, of women using your products. So actually partnering with people who understand tech, actually partnering with women tech groups or groups that are reaching women. I think a lot more collaboration needs to be done among corporate and those in the tech scene.
All right, so going to
you talk about the organization. We have the WIN team, the Women in Technology in Nigeria. We have the ASPON. A lot of these groups are available locally in Nigeria that anybody can partner with. But the problem we have is not just about these associations. It's how we can the associations work together to talk about the blockchain, talk about the data analytics, all the new technologies that are coming up. The problem is that they're still thinking about technology is still 50 years ago. Meanwhile, the young people here, the Idea Hub, the Yaba, and all these guys, they've left those, they are really moving fast. So they don't know where the technology is heading to. So if we don't liberate the thinking of these associations to understand that the millennials have a different mindset, then it's a problem. So it's left for us to really go into those places and try to make those changes so that they understand where we're coming from and be able to promote some of this.
thank you very much. I was before we open up to you actually all answered my last question, which was what do we need to do to make it a more enabling environment? And I think in the sentences you have, we've talked about catching them young and also getting involved. And I think that to your point, it was collaboration is very important. Even as a bank, we can't do everything ourselves, so we have to collaborate with different players and stakeholders to try to provide better solutions for our customers. And I think that's what you are alluding to. And definitely the financing is important, and getting more women investing in women is very key. And I think nothing that is not measured doesn't get done. So I think it's a body coming together and saying, okay, what are these key important metrics? Getting more women in technology very young, so that you get more developers or people more interested in that, and then more understanding, and women actually breaking it down and simplifying it to women, so so they can actually invest in it and not, jewelry or a farm. So I think putting out all I think there's no silver bullet, but it's different parts in different stages, all working together to actually create that enabling environment. And with that, I think we open that up to the audience for questions if there are any.
Good morning once again. My name is Joanna Snosu. I work in the health sector, representing Simply Health Limited. My question goes to Mr. Jose, who I know is an entrepreneur. We've talked about how we can process funds from the bank, and the last speaker said something about the stages you have to go before you get funds from the banks. And as an SME, I may not have those criteria or those qualifications. But there's a program I love so much, Dragon's Den in the UK. A lot of entrepreneurs, very rich people, Mr. Jose, you're one of them. You can, get people together. Fidelity Bank, Dangote, a lot of people, sit down like a panel as we are watching you people now, and the young people who want this loan can pitch their businesses to you. Pitch it, tell you all kinds of things. And if you think they have something upstairs, you can decide to sponsor them without us going to the banks. And you can ask for a stake. Okay, I'm giving you £1 million, 100 million naira. What is my stake there? 5%, 10%, 15%. And if you think you can make that money and we have something to present to you, then you have a stake. Everyone goes home happy. You can also, with your expertise, with your connections, grow those businesses. Direct us to whoever, this person has this product to bring to market. Link us to different people, and you see businesses grow. You will be smiling to Diamond Bank, we will be smiling to Diamond Bank as well. So for me, it's not about, you can help. There's so many millionaires in this country, and the young people, youth couples, people like us who are suffering. To get 200,000 naira loan is an uphill task. It is difficult. They will ask you to go and get your father's death certificate, mother's marriage certificate. Your husband has to give you permission. We can do better in this country. We can do better. So I'm just asking.
So your question, yes, ask the question.
It's a question. They can help, and I know you can. And I need for me to live here, that you have to make a promise. That you have to get people, entrepreneurs, who can help us. Who can help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I am rich, but I'm rich in ideas, so we're not So, and one of the ideas that I think, I would rather you spend the money we spend on televising Dragon's Den could help many small businesses. So, but I think what is required is angel funds, a lot of angel funds as well to help businesses as well, to invest in them. And then, because there are two types, there's equity and there's bank lending. I will tell you that as the technology improves, we're beginning to find ways to actually reduce the amount that we can lend. Before, if you walked to Diamond by 10 years ago, if it was not £1 million naira, we're not interested in you. Now it's about 100,000 naira. So it's going down as we use technology, and we use it based on your profile. So we don't have to look at you. It's just based on your activity, based on what you do, and based on big data. So as we improve on leveraging technology, we will definitely be lending. It's our business to lend. If we don't lend, your interest rate is going down to 10%. So the only way we can make money is to lend and also partner. But another way is also entrepreneurs, or should I say successful entrepreneurs, instead of investing in treasury bills, also investing in the future of Nigeria as well. So whether you're a banker, whether you're a Dangote, or whether you should also take some of your investments, which they're actually doing as well, and saying we're going to put a stake in small bets, and I call them small bets. And you're right, maybe I think you've been, you have like a camera in my office, because that's one of the things that I'm starting this year. I'm actually starting an angel fund, where it's a platform that actually helps people, not just financing, but a platform to access advisory services and also market as well. So, and technology allows you to do that now, and so that's one of the things we're experimenting on as an individual and not as Diamond Bank. Diamond Bank does not invest in businesses. We lend our customer deposits to people.
Thank you so much. Please a round of applause for that. I can see you clapping, so that answers the question, right?
Because actually all of us were just talking about this. So there are actually angels out there investing. There are individuals. There are tons of pitch competitions. I feel like I'm even tired of them because, to be honest, like every day there's a pitch competition. So I think this goes back to also empowering you, and I challenge you to actually do the research, because there is tons of events and pitch competitions that even happened in the past year that are looking to fund individuals. You can't just assume all the Dangotes are going to fund you. You know, I think we have to start being more realistic. There's a lot of, individuals that are just quietly investing in businesses. And for me, the way I found them out is just asking friends, asking people to make introductions. And I've actually, made it kind of part of my routine that when I go to events, I kind of tune into what they're interested in. Are they investing? And if I hear that, I kind of note them and then find a way to reach out to them. So I think it's just doing the research, even using LinkedIn, and I think that's very underutilized in this country. There's people that literally put investor on their profile. They may not be, I think that goes against doing the research to confirm. But there is a lot of individuals who are making, small investments, just if it's, 1 million, to just doing small investments because they are interested in investing in the future of Nigeria.
Right. Thank you so much, Chika.
And I work for SME100. But I want to ask a question. Do we have intentional or conscious programs to integrate women into our workforce, so as to encourage them? And we have good couples here, and some of them are interested in moving into tech, but they don't know how. I'm well aware that SME100 does an internship program that has been very successful, at least in my view. But I just want to know if we have programs to intentionally integrate women, at least to build that tech foundation.
Let me just talk a little bit of what Signal Alliance is doing in that regards. We have what they call 2 years internship program. And I intentionally make sure that the company must always have at least 20% of its workforce women. It's an intentional thing, has been running for over years. And let me tell you the good thing about it. Most times people think that you have to be a computer science or you have done a bit of a science to be in an IT company, right? And I tell you, I don't think I agree with that completely. So I have people that read economics, and I train them to become programmers. So what it means is that anybody can do anything. So I have women in the company holding high positions in the company. We're talking about holding high positions. So they are holding the high positions in the company in IT. They are doing the services. They are competing with their counterparts. And the only way we can do that is, this is the way to give back. So we are doing it not just for the company, but also for Nigeria. So what are we doing? So we bring a lot of these people on a yearly basis. So we try to retain maybe 20% of them. The remaining people will lead them to go out there, because the banks, like Jose and the rest, they want to get experience. They want people that have a bit of one kind of experience of that. So if you come out from school, you're a company and you want to go and get a job in Diamond, but they'll tell you don't have experience, right? So what we do is to train these people for those 3 years. So even if we don't retain you, you already qualify. So you go out there, you already have, your job is guaranteed. Because we don't have a lot of people in IT. We don't have IT is a bit skewed somehow. So we don't have many people doing IT services. So this is the way we are giving back to society, by training as much as possible on a yearly basis. This has run for more than 10 years. So every year we train them. So we keep some people in the system, we lose some people. So you are sure of the job out there.
I'd like to add to what she said. So aside her organization, there are companies like Andela that employs women. There's also Wing Bees, they have a mentorship program. So one thing I even want to challenge a lot of young people that are like recently graduating or have graduated or are job hunting, try to reach out to other people, let people know what you're interested in. Take it upon yourself. The time you're at home on Instagram, flipping your phone, go online. There are a lot of resources where you can train yourself, develop yourself, and certificates. There are a lot of project planning. So you don't even have to be a coder. Go and get your PMP. Go and like, even, there's some things, I think a lot of Nigerians, they're like, oh, how much are they going to pay me? Every place I work, they tell you that whatever I'm going to pay you is not like the sum of what you're worth. So the salary is just like a stipend, even if they're paying you 500K. Like, just go out, even if it's for you to say, okay, I don't mind working for free. If it's a month, 2 months, let them see how well you are, be committed, get there on time, prove yourself. And just, make sure that you're working and you know that, okay, I not just come to work to faff or to play today. Just be intentional about developing, seeing yourself successful. And there's no how, it's hard in Nigeria, I know how it is, finding a job, but just put yourself out there, network, develop yourself, and just hope and pray everything will work out.
I actually want to talk about the cryptocurrency you mentioned. I recommend sustained advocacy between all the actors, all the women actors in tech space. We have someone who represents the civil society, and then we have the entrepreneurs. Recently, the CBN published an advertorial on cryptocurrency. And I'm not an investor, but I know people have also made gains from it. And such advertorials would actually turn people away from a potential investment source. So that's where you need sustained cooperation between all the partners to ensure that what is even happening within the economic space, you take charge of it and you respond appropriately, because while there may be some risk, the point is it's happening somewhere and people are taking it. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Amol University. I just wanted to quickly ask, I know we've spoken about digital marketing, we've also spoken about coding, but we don't talk about things like environmental GIS. We don't talk about other softwares that are very, very important to people. And because I study GIS, I actually did my master's in geographic information system, and it's a mapping tool, that can be used for location mapping, Google Earth, and all of those things. But I think we need to expose more people to other softwares and other opportunities in the tech world, apart from the general digital marketing and all of that. So my question is, how do we do that, especially for women? Because even the men are not understanding these things. So how do we bring women in? Thank you.
If the courses are not actually offered, then you can't actually build an army of experts in that particular field. Which is why there are more and more people who go into things like digital marketing, because there are a lot of courses online. It's easy to access. You can learn on the job. You can and you make your money quickly as well, right? So you don't have to go through a long educational periods.
I think there needs to be like a link between the university and what is happening in the real world. Because you find that a lot of people are pushed into, okay, go and study mechanical engineering, go and study software engineering, but where are the people that study mathematics? Where are the people that study, okay, maybe some bioengineering or things like that? So exactly, I agree with what you're saying. So if there is a link, you find that in universities abroad, there are courses like engineering and public policy. Then you learn how are policies developed to, sustain technology growth, just to ensure that the economy is well growing, businesses are growing. So I think if that link is well, adopted, grown, and properly linked together, basically, there would be the opportunity to explore other areas of technology, engineering, math, and science for the students and women in general. Thank you.
And mathematics. You need chemistry and music. You need diversity in curriculum. But I think before that happens, that takes a long time. My philosophy is that we have to think what is technology? Technology is a way to make things faster, quicker, more convenient. So in our world, so in that moment, we say, you know what? How do we use technology to do everything? To replace what is existing. So no more paper, right? Because we know that without paper, information moves much faster. Without paper, there's more security because it's on a device. It's not because we're a bank. So the more paper that's lying around, the more information they're given, and when the confident business. So when you think that, 3 years ago, I woke up and I said, guys, since we're a digital company, as staff, we're no longer going to use checkbooks at all, or we're not going to go into the branch. We're either going to use our mobile app or we're going to use the internet. And everyone thinking, how will I do this? How will I do that? 2 years later, everyone thinks, how did I write it? Why did I use a checkbook before? So there are many things that there's a technology for everything. I mean, before I get here, I go to Google and say, which is GIS. How long will it take for me to get here? And so now we can plan your day efficiently because that information is there. And so it is, if you don't have the mindset, you always default to the traditional, and then you will start thinking what the possibilities are out there. And when we do that, then we're going to need that capacity of developers and engineers and people who have that diverse training to actually meet our needs. And as you said, that digital economy is real, because while I was at Davos and we were talking about the fourth industrial revolution, and I was thinking, in Nigeria, there's some places where we're still having challenges with the second industrial revolution, which is power. So we need to change the mindset from a policy perspective and also from an education perspective. If we are, as somebody rightly said, if we're not be colonized, and this one will be permanent.
Thank you so much, our distinguished panelists and moderator. If you just join us for photo session. And Demo Bank has a 1-minute video. That video will just play shortly after this photo session. Please, thank you.